So, I've already filmed this once. And talk of annoying, because I couldn't colour match or weather match the footage, so I've come out again to refilm it because I wasn't happy with it anyway. So, if you're new to the channel, I tend to mod e-bikes and tend to mod ENGWEs, and previously I modded the Engine Pro, the original one. Then the M20, I put a mid-drive motor on it and I had two motors running at the same time. That thing was an absolute beast, but it drove me nuts. I added a battery to the X, made it a long-range monster. What else have I done? Oh, the Engine Pro 2.0, the bash for that as well. Made that a long-range monster, 52 volt, absolute tank. Like the last one, the Engine Pro 2, I had a Batman theme with it, and that bike's an absolute tank, and I've still got it today. It's one of the few bikes that I've kept from ENGWE. But with the advent of the new EP-2 3.0 coming out and the Engine 3.0 coming out, I decided to mod one of these. I'm modding them both really. And modding is a personal thing, so don't think because of what I've done you have to do what I've done. You don't. But I like this bike, and for me it's currently the best bang for your buck that you can get out of ENGWE. So with my discount code you can still get this bike for about £1,000. And what I spent on it, a few £100, makes this better than the, well, as far as I'm concerned, makes this better than the Engine Pro 3.0. Makes it a far better bike. And I don't say that lightly. It's just a good bike. And for what it lacks with the Engine 3.0, honestly, I've addressed that with this. So for under £300, you're technically getting a better e-bike. And I don't say that lightly, I really don't say that lightly. You're getting a better e-bike for an extra £300, and I think that bike's currently £1,699. So for a few £100, oh yeah, for a few £100 sort of less, you're getting a better e-bike with all the trimmings. Yeah, for what you're getting for the money, this is just outstanding. You're getting a £2,000 e-bike for pretty much £1,300. That's the way I see it. Because I think with these magnesium frames and everything else, they really are undercharging for this bike. As far as I'm concerned, that's the way I see it. In comparison with what they've had out before, I think they're undercharging. I think it's an absolute bargain. You can get a better bang for your buck by buying this bike, and that's why I keep raving about it. It's just a good bike. So like I said, I think I've addressed all the differences between the EP-2 3.0 boost and the Engine Pro 3.0 boost, and basically made it a better bike for a few £100. So technically for £1,300, what can I say? I mean, like I said, the Engine Pro 3.0 is currently sitting at £1,699 or £1,599. It's still £300 or £400 dearer. It's a cracking bike for the money. Anyway, let's go along, get up into town, have a ride round. I'll show you what I've done, and then the choice is yours. I'm going to bear this in mind. ENGWE ain't going to have this bike on much longer for the money. It's coming up towards the end of January. So what you can save now using my discount code, taking it down from its retail price originally of $12.99, you're then sort of like knocking off what they got it down to at $10.99. With my discount code, it's about £1,000. So bear that in mind, it ain't going to be there for long. 6 degrees today, which is warmer than some of the nights that I've been going out, and it's been sort of 0, some -0 with the wind chill. Got my fingerless gloves on. yeah, so I kind of hope I've addressed most of the issues that I've found with this bike. And to me now, it's, I don't know, I'm a bit brave saying this, but I think it's a 10. It looks better, it rides better, it's slightly faster, but it doesn't need to be. Yeah, you don't want to, I mean, I've got it unlocked as well.
So let's start with the unlocking. So the plus and minus together, and then push the pause all the way to the top and hold it until it starts blinking. So it says, what does it say? 28. So we hit the bottom button, hold that. Now it says 16, and now it's locked again. Just press the I button and it goes back to normal. To reverse it, to unlock it, same again, hold the up button. Starts blinking, you see. Click the minus down, hold that. Now it says 28 mile an hour. Press the I, hold that button, and it's unlocked. It's that simple.
And it's easy enough to unlock. I'll put the unlock process again at the end of this video so you know how to unlock it. But it just glides along. That was the whole idea behind this, what I've done to it. It's just something you just want to get on and go out on, and it's just there, it's done. When I'm constantly riding around on these bikes, I'm thinking about what I can do to make them better. You know, what can I do to improve them? I rode round on this the other day, and I couldn't think of anything now. I mean, you can mess around with it, but I'll talk about something else that you could do to it if the range ain't to your liking, and it's not. It is an extender battery, but it's way cooler. And I think it makes it less obvious, if that makes sense. And because the police nowadays are clamping down on these things, you really want something that's a little bit less obvious. You know, the one thing I think it's lacking is that 100 Newton meters of torque. If they were to build the next one with that in that AI sensor, oof. Now I'm going to go off on a little side rant, you know, because I can, but in an ideal world, we'd be able to have a throttle up to 15.5 mile an hour. I really, for the life of me, cannot see why it's an issue. I really can't. It shouldn't be an issue. It doesn't matter how you get up to 15.5 mile an hour. It's a shame, because I think if the throttles were enabled without all the insurance and the legislation that sits around it, there'd be so many people on these bikes. Less able-bodied, younger riders that see this better than a motorbike. You know, it's cheaper to run, because owning a moped costs a fortune when you're young. Insurance alone. I just don't see the point in that. But c'est la vie. The problem is, governments don't want this to change. They really don't. They're happy with the way things are going. And, well, as far as e-bike's concerned, the rest of their policies are dog shit. But they won't be around for in another few years' time anyway. But then the incoming reprobates, whoever gets in, it's going to be the same again. It'll be years before it gets changed. So I keep monitoring UK e-bike law, and I know nothing's going to change. In fact, if for anything, it's going to get worse. You know, they're looking at legislation for all sorts of transport, and one of the things they can easily clamp down, because it costs them virtually nothing to do, is with e-bikes. It's just, for want of a better term, it's wank. So let's go have a mooch around a little bit more, find somewhere to pull over, and I'll show you what I've done to make this already really good bike great. And I do think it's great. And bear in mind, I've worked to a budget that's not astronomical, but I'm also going to give you some options as well when we talk about it at the end. And one of the things I put on here that it don't really need, and if you are going to do it, you're going to have to go you're going to have to go a size bigger, but I have got an increase in speed of about 1.5 miles an hour out of it. I've also bought one of these lights. I've got about 3 in, and they cost about 20 quid each from China. And they come with multiple modes, so you can have it on that. Let's get him on. Get it brighter still, and strobe. Which when you're riding it round at night, when I am, or like I am, makes a bit of a difference really. And I didn't see any point in removing that, because one light fails, you've always got another one, it's a spare. So yeah, I'm really pleased the way it's turned out. So I was on about earlier about options for the bike, and for range, there's a lot of real estate in that top bar now. So basically I was looking at one of these bottles, they look like bottles, but they're actually range batteries, extended range batteries. And I found a really good one. It's not cheap, but it's like another 10 amp hours. and it just looks like it's held on with a bottle holder. And running the cabling through to the controller that's in there and adding a splitter wouldn't be a problem at all. Just have to change the connectors around to XT60s, and that's it. I said the reason I didn't go up major teeth on that is because I don't think it needs it. It ain't really made that much of a difference, and plus you don't have to replace the chain. I think I've got another mile and a half an hour out of it. There's no point in swapping anything else on this bike as far as I'm concerned. It just looks great as it is now. The mirrors I'm using are my Meachow HD mirrors. You can only buy the right ones now. I can't find a left one anywhere. But I'll leave a link into where you can get them from. You might be able to get them in your region, but I can't get them in mine. Like I said, the reason I've gone for folding pedals is it's easier to have in the back of the car when it's not wobbling around. It actually packs flat, and because we've got that nice big chunky derailleur guard on there, we can leave it hanging on the other side. These folding pedals, they're not the cheap ones either, but they have got a wider grip on them. But yeah, all in all, I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. It's a fabulous looking bike now. Not that it wasn't a fabulous looking bike out the box, we've just made it look better. Anyway, I'll leave you to your thoughts down in the comments, what you'd have done. Don't forget you got 300 quid to spend. But yeah, I said that battery bottle that could go on the top tube there. It's not the cheapest one I've found, but I think it would look the most aesthetically pleasing. Plus, you're not taking up your rear rack with your battery. And I think that's a big benefit to that. But I love having the fact that you can just take the battery out now without having to unfold the bike. There's nothing graceful about unfolding these bikes. As you can see, the tread pattern's virtually the same as the one that it comes with. I think these are about 60 quid a pair. I think that was about 40 quid for the bigger chainring, 25 quid for the pedals. You can get these from China for about 50 quid. Saddle was 25 quid. That light's 15 quid. So quick total up. There you are. So I don't think I spent 300 quid really. We've gone for the ENGWE folding BMX handlebars, but they're not in stock and they won't be back in until March apparently. But you can buy the folding mechanism online from Amazon, get it next day, and it's £39.99. And if you add in a 25 quid pair of handlebars, which you'll get a good pair for that, it's actually cheaper.
Right, let's talk about the underbar configuration. When you're using the bars that come on the bike, you're in a sort of sit up in bed position. It's up here somewhere. And you're kind of restricted to no forward or lateral movement with the bars. This makes you have to fit yourself to the bike and not the other way round. So with the BMX bars, you've got adjustment here. You just loosen these off. You can move them forward and back and make the bike fit you and not the other way round. That's why I'm so hot on these. I think they're brilliant. They're far more comfortable. They fold the same as the other ones. And they're just a major advantage to the bike overall. It's not rocket science, and that's why I like them so much. That's why I fit them. And for 70 quid from ENGWE, they're an absolute bargain. Like I said, they're out of stock at the moment, due back in March. But I've got a workaround. There's a folding mech that you can buy from Amazon, one of these, and just put your own bars on, and it actually works out cheaper, and you can choose the bars that you get. So there's that.
I've gone for purple grip ends, anodised ones. They're only a tenner a pair. They're off my old bike actually, as is my saddle. But that is such a comfortable saddle. And you can pick one of them up for 25 quid or whatever saddle you want. The tyres I've gone for are these ARISUNs. And I think they're actually made by Chainring anyway, but I wanted to go for black and tan to accentuate the colour of the bike, because I love the colour of this bike. And I think they look better.
While I'm at it, when you take your rear wheel out, always take a photograph of both sides where your washers go and how the axle sits. And you might think that the axle's actually round, but it's actually square on two sides. So it's to stop it spinning in the frame, in the drop there. I've said in previous videos, just make sure your nuts are tight now and again, because if they could become loose, they cause a lot of damage. You're just getting movement in the axle.
Like I said, modding's a personal thing. You don't have to do what I've done. You know, you might not like what I've done. You might think the bike's perfect as it is, don't bother. You might just want to add a few of the things that I've added to this bike. Well, yeah. You might want to do different colours. Well, yeah, that's your personal choice. That's what modding's about having something that nobody else has got. I've been doing it for years with cars and motorbikes, and I just love it. It's, when it comes to cars, it's not a cheap hobby, and I do tend to change my cars a lot, normally for another Audi TT, but that's me. You know, I'm on my 16th Audi TT. But this, I'd like to say this is a cheaper hobby, but it's now got me into photography. And I've recently spent thousands on camera equipment for another YouTube channel I want to do. And when I say thousands, I mean, well, it's my birthday present to myself, so, and it's not like I haven't earned it this year. We're going to be going out on adventures with the bikes. I want to be doing 2 or 3 videos a month this year, and videos for another channel I'm doing, so plus the car stuff, because I really enjoy it. It gives me similar headspace to what I get riding around on these bikes. Oh, and I upgraded my Garmin Tactics too. My old one was like 3 or 4 generations behind, so I treated myself to that at Christmas. I do use, this watch is never off my wrist, or one of them. Far better than the Apple. I mean, this thing's got solar on it, and it's very rare I have to charge it unless I'm using a GPS solid. Once a month. Apple, depending on how you use it, between a day and 3 days. I did look at the Apple Ultra 3 and I just thought, I can't be charging that every 5 minutes, it would drive me nuts. I know some of you out there that watch me will have one. If you know, tell me some positives, I might buy one, but you know, I've had my other Garmin Tactics now for 5 years. It's never skipped a beat, rarely had to charge it. You know, it's got a couple of little dinks on it, but I've used it as basically hammered it. You know, you wouldn't treat any other watch like that. So getting back to UK e-bike law, as you can see, I'm always putting videos up about it. It's something that really pisses me off. You're either having laws and the police don't do anything about them. That's why this is unlocked. Nobody's going to stop you on one of these. If you buy that P275, you know, the SE version, I mean, I can get 20 odd miles an hour out of that. And like I said, what self-respecting copper is going to pull you over on one of them? They're just good bikes. I'm talking about good bikes. ENGWE. So, those of you that have been following me for a long time on my Facebook channel would know how hard a time I gave ENGWE. And it was an hard time. I was still renting at one point, I was costing them probably £6 a day in sales. And it was because my bike frame snapped and some of my friends' bike frames snapped, and their customer services, they were shit. They were really dog shit. And I pushed them in a position where I'd leave them alone if they replaced all the bikes and made everybody whole again, which they did. And I think they realised from that mistake that there was people like me out there that would cause them, well, financially damage and reputationally damage, and it could hit their brand. And even though when they asked me to review the Engine Pro 2.0, and I did think twice about it, I said I wouldn't buy another ENGWE bike because I was slagging their bikes, and the stuff's still on my channel. I haven't taken it down. They gave me an option to pull up or shut up, and I thought, well, if it's shit, it's shit. If it's good, it's good. But I wasn't going to lie about it. And the bike, well, testament to it, I still have it nearly 2 years on. And I still use it nearly 2 years on. The customer service is getting better by the day. It's not perfect, but it's getting there, and I don't know a company that does have perfect customer service. But they're getting better. And from what I read on other forums about other e-bike manufacturers, they're sort of pretty much at the top now for customer service, customer retention, value for money, you know, which is what you want from a company. These aren't cheap. These really aren't cheap. And you don't want to be wasting your hard-earned money on a bike like this. I mean, I say it's cheap, regardless of whether I get them sent for free or not. I still think these bikes are really good value for money. The other thing is they listen to me. They were watching my Facebook groups for a long time. And I know I mention it a little bit too often, but the boost button was my idea. You know, 6-8 months after I come up with the idea on actually on one of my YouTube videos. And I was talking about it a lot on my Facebook group. Next thing you know, they've got one. And they released it on the L20 Boost. First bike I had it on. It's got it on virtually every bike now. It's a good idea. Really is a good idea. I'm glad they took it on board. Have they paid me any money for it? No. But they did finally admit it was my idea, and it was where they come up with the idea. Let's see it on my channel. To be fair, I'm just happy that somebody ran with the idea. So the bike, what do I think of it now? Well, this is the second ride out I've had on it, and I love it. You know, I can only really keep 2 bikes in my garage. I just don't have the space for it because I'm getting bikes coming in to review, and if it came between the toss-up between this and the L20 3.0 Pro, the Pro just, not even ride-wise or looks-wise now, it just about wins because of that 100 Newton meters of torque. It wins on that 100 Newton meters of torque, and you owners out there that own one, you know what I'm on about. It's great, isn't it? You know, nearly 23 mile an hour. I had it up to 24 and a half the other day. Can't really knock that, can you?
While I'm at it, when you take your rear wheel out, always take a photograph of both sides where your washers go and how the axle sits. And you might think that the axle's actually round, but it's actually square on 2 sides. So it's to stop it spinning in the frame, in the drop there. I've said in previous videos, just make sure your nuts are tight now and again, because if they could become loose, they cause a lot of damage. You're just getting movement in the axle.
So if it came down to it, and I can only keep a couple of bikes at my place. I've got one of my own. I've got my Engine Pro 2.0, which I'm never getting rid of. I love it. And it just reminds me of what a jump that ENGWE made between that and the Engine Pro. And I've got my R20 3.0 Pro. And really, the only thing that this hasn't got, which I won't give up because I love it so much, is that 100 Newton meters of torque. Looks wise, I prefer this, I do. In fact, the ride's more comfortable, but that can be dealt with by putting a suspension seat post on my R20 3.0. This is nearly a 10 now though. I mean, as near as I'm ever going to say a bike's a 10, this is it. This is definitely it. I can't say anything else really. I just love riding round on it. But I'm not giving up my R20 3.0 Pro. It's just too much fun. And because I'm lazy, I'm not giving up that 100 Newton meters of torque. It's an absolute mountain goat. It really is. And it's not just me that says it, there's other e-bike reviewers out there who've just said how good it is. And because we're stuck with EU and UK e-bike law, can't take it off you. Same as this, can't take this off you if you're riding around legally. But gotta be honest, I do love this. Nothing on here I can think of that's not to love. How bright that light is. Hi, sweetie. Yeah. Get one.
Right, get yourself a couple of these. They're rotor locks. They sit on the rotors there, as you can see, and they lock in. This stops that wheel from being turned 360 degrees. Put one on the front as well, because obviously they can lift the back wheel up and roll it along. But if you've got two of these on and they take seconds to take off, seconds to put on, that bike's not moving. They've got to lift it and carry it. These are things for just nipping in the shop and leaving your bike. It stops it from being stolen. Over under the forks over there, I've got an adapter that holds an air tag. So there's an air tag in the bike. So I've got basically everything ENGWE have done on the Pro, but better. And these are just about £7 each from China, but they do the job well. Like I said, once they're on the wheel, they've got to destroy that to get them out. And if you've got your wheel locked to the frame, they can't exactly take the wheel off. Job done. Good bit of security. I mean, it's not going to hold somebody that really wants the bike back, but it's going to make them sort of like think twice, even if they just try pushing the bike and it doesn't move.